I'll welcome you all. I see there are some 28 participants. I cannot see you all on my screen, but thank you so much. This is Ruxana and Suleiman, who is the host of the meeting today. As you can see on the backdrop, we are hosting some seminars for supporting continuity of instruction at FCC. Now was the time to bring you together to share your best practices across the floor. So before we start, very quickly, some etiquette. Please keep your Zoom button on mute, and I see that you have done that already. And some of you might have poor connections at home. In that case, may I request you to ensure that you keep your videos off, and perhaps you need to tell your family not to use the connection at that time. I also would like you to sort of leave some comments in the chat, like Ashad Johnson already has left a comment, and we will discuss it after the presenter. And then, of course, just to inform you that we will be recording the session for later use. The session, as usual, is divided into 3 segments. The first segment is the speaker. And then after 15 minutes, we'll open the floor to all of you to ask questions or to share best practices. And then at 3:30, we'll gently say thank you to those of you that want to leave. But many of you I know will want to stay on, and we'll continue as long as you want to discuss with each other across the floor. Quickly on to today's topic. It is about Zoom and how to use Zoom for classroom effectively in these remote environments. Just to say how I located Mustafa, who is the expert for this talk today, I found him on the LUMS website. Mustafa, I found you there with your video where you were teaching, I think, LUMS faculty on some ways of online teaching. And so they discovered you before I did. Right? So you are an assistant professor in the School of Life Sciences here with us, and you have 10 years of teaching experience. You have been doing a lot of supervision of postgraduate research, and you have conducting talks across various campuses. You have written in different science magazines, and now you're going to tell us how you have used Zoom so effectively for your use in the classroom. I have noticed that there is a lot of questions that came to us regarding Zoom, and I think you are dot on, and that is why right now I see some 48 participants. I cannot see all of you on the screen, but thank you so much and welcome to you all. And I already see 3 chats, but we will sort of come to them once we start the Q&A. So Mustafa, over to you. You have a huge audience, so you better satisfy everybody. Right?
Okay, thank you very much. And it's really a big honor for me to talk to my respected fellows on a particular topic. And as Ma'am Ruxana has shared that these are my experiences. So I mean, whatever I'm doing, I'm just sharing those ways. So and in our discussions together, we might be able to figure it out that what are the best possible ways. And I'm looking forward to see your ways as well at the end of the day. So I will going to share my screen with you people to share my slide as well. So I request, ma'am, please allow me to share my screen as well, so I can share and pop my slides.
Yeah,
thank you very much.
Suleiman is the host, and he will do it. He's the host.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Yeah. So I'm sure you people should be able to see my slides right now. Am I right? If it is true, then I can proceed further with my talk formally from here on. So if you're able to see my screen right now, I will going to share my experience. So I mean, these are not supposed to be the best of the experience. These are not supposed to be the finest, but these are the things which I was doing for the last couple of months. And I just felt that it is working somehow. And I need your support in terms of questions and discussions to improve these things further and to learn from each other. And once again, I'm really thankful for all the participants out there. I mean, it's really a big honor for me to talk all of you. And I learned always a lot from all of you people. And it is really my honor once again to share my thoughts with you. So let's start with the work right away. So this is a picture of my workstation. So where I used to work. So I conducted all my online classes. So what I felt that in order to have our students engaged better, that we need to show a kind of gesture that we are working for them. So we need to, I mean, somehow made an impression on our students that we are the ones who are actually keeping things, moving things here and there for them. So this is one of the way to get a bit, some extra attention from our students, that you should have a perfect background for Zoom and associated software. So it's not supposed to be the green always. I mean, you can have a white perfect background, but the green is the best one. These are nothing special, just green charts. I put them together and pasted on my wall behind my laptop. It gives me all those beautiful, wonderful backgrounds which you might be able to, you can go to see my YouTube channel. All those wonderful backgrounds are because of these simple green charts. And I used to actually try to create specific backgrounds for individual classes as well. These things a sense that our teacher is somehow associated specifically with our class, talking to us, particularly to, like, for example, this is one of the Balaji 100 background, one of the Balaji 100 background, which you can see right now. I draw that background by myself, and I am not a very good artist, but somehow this picture gives my student a sense that I am talking on the cell structure and something related to them. So this is some sort of an extra attention, or I must say, eye-catching stuff for my students. So they should think and wait to see what will be there on my background in the next class, what I will try to give them in my next class as well. The second thing I believe which hurts online teaching a lot is the voice quality. Because when we are not together in the same, under the same roof in the classroom, even if we miss like a couple of words in a sentence, those couple of words might be the key words for, to communicate the real concept of that topic. So we sometimes never get an idea that actually some words from our sentences are not communicated to our students because I am not talking right, keeping my mouth towards the microphone. So you need to teach, or I need to teach always to myself that I'm not going to speak like while looking at that side. I'm not going to speak while looking at that. So I need to speak right, my face towards the microphone. So if your microphone is there, you need to be like this. If your microphone is there, you need to be like this. And the best thing is that you should use a collar microphone. That is the perfect thing. So if a microphone, you are not sending the correct, or I must say the clear voice, you are actually losing the attention of your students right away. And if you are doing that thing like at the first part of the lecture, the second part is you should not expect them to be there afterwards. If the topics are like science lectures and the other chemistry or biology or environmental science, I must say losing one frame means the rest of the lecture is meaningless after that for the students as well. And another thing, I find it very interesting while online teaching, because most of us who are teaching, we evolved our teaching on the whiteboards, using the whiteboard or writing somewhere on the notepad. When we talk to the students, we used to write things on the pad. So I design a way that how I integrate the real-time writing method into my online teaching. So for that thing, it gives a very wonderful sense to the students and to me as well, because actually this is something I have evolved over the last several years. So I want to try to teach in the same way while having my online classes as well. So whenever I talk, this is a screenshot from one of my class. I am talking real time with my students while writing at the same time. So whatever I'm writing and whatever I'm speaking, they are in sync, and students can get it in the same way as I used to teach them in the classroom. And you can have that the same thing with the whiteboard as well. So in order to get or set up that stuff, I will be sharing that slides with you as well, along with all the links. So if you find it interesting, you can use these things as well. So in order to set up that stuff, in order to set up a real-time notepad or a real you do not need to buy a professional camera or something. All you need to do is to have an Android smartphone. An Android smartphone is good enough to be used as an extra camera to be focused on your notepad. If you can see my workstation here, this stuff is my cell phone. This is my cell phone. So my cell phone camera is focusing on my table where I place my notebook. And if I need to draw something, I will be drawing on my notebook, and my students can see all these drawing right away in the classroom as well. So all you need to do is to have an Android cell phone and an app which is called IP webcam. You need to install that app onto your cell phone. That app can be downloaded from the Google Play. And once you start that app on your cell phone, whatever your camera of the cell phone is focusing at will be visible in a Chrome window of your computer. So that means in one of the Chrome window, I will be able to see whatever my external camera is looking at. So all I need to do is to set my writing notebook or my whiteboard in front of that external camera, and I can use these things in the meanwhile while teaching. So you can download that IB webcam on your smartphone, and that is how you can communicate that stuff with your PC. So all the links are here. It is simple and very easy, and you do not need a very fancy or other things. Actually, people used to integrate multiple videos together to have that effect. But we are not a computer expert. We are not IT people. So we always find it difficult to put all these things together. So in that case, you don't need to use any computer software to edit the things up, and you can teach in a way you used to teach like for 20 years or for 30 years while having an online class. And also I found that it gives a signal to my students that I am actually like doing something, extra or something additional for my students as well. The next thing is very difficult, that is like how to process the video. Once you have a Zoom session, the Zoom will give you like multiple videos. So once you have that output videos in your Zoom folder, all you need to do is to convert those videos into some form which you can share with your students. We have an option that we can upload those videos onto the Moodle or onto the other options like YouTube. But remember, as teachers, we do not want to upload everything. We need to edit things. Sometimes we are talking like in an informal way with our students. Sometimes we are sharing things which we are not supposed to. We don't want to share those things with the rest of the world. So we always need to edit our lectures to create a fine video which only contains the appropriate materials. So for that we must know somehow the basic tools which are required to edit or trim the video. So the Window Movie Maker, which is a built-in software in our computers, that can help us how to trim the different components of that video. So using that link which I will be providing to you, you can understand that how to trim the different components of the video easily. But the problem is that the free softwares like the Window Media Player, Window Movie Makers, these software will give you an output file, a product file of a very big size. So those big size video files is of no use under present conditions, because students will never be able to download that much material. So sometimes you need to convert those big size files into the smaller size files. So you might be needing the Real Player Converter or that software as well. So I have placed that link as well, and I will be available if somebody wants me to speak more on any of those softwares in detail. But I have placed the tutorials here for your follow-up. So if you have a specific question, I will explain in detail that how we can convert that video into a YouTube video. Putting the video on the YouTube is the best option. The reason why, because all you need to do after that is to place that link on the Moodle. That's all. You do not need to upload the video on the Moodle. You do not need to wait that much. Once the video is on the YouTube, you can just copy the link and paste on all those options. Even you can WhatsApp that link to the students as well. And also, if you do not wish to share that video with the rest of the world, you can post your video on the YouTube in an unlisted way. In that case, the video will be placed on the YouTube, but nobody can see, only the people who have the link. So you will have the link. So if you share that link with your classroom, only your classroom will be able to see that video. And in that case, you can also secure your video as well. The next thing which helps our students to feel better in an online class is to give them multiple options to access the data. The problem I found while during my teaching is that even out of 35 students, the 30 students able to use the Moodle well, the 5 students who fail to get the things out of the Moodle, they will create a fuss and they will be the ones who actually ended up your class in a failure. So in order to create options for every student, we need to generate the same data on multiple formats or multiple platforms. I used to put my data on the Moodle, which we already know, and then I have created a Google Classroom. The Google Classroom is a much easier way of putting the data using an app called Google Classroom. How to create Google Classroom is very simple. It's a 10-minute job. You can follow that video. That video is made by me. It's already on the YouTube, and it is used by the LUMS faculty as well to teach their faculty how to create online Google Classrooms. So in that way, you can easily share the videos, the links, the assignment, the MCQs, all things are there. And then the third option is that you can create a Google Drive folder, and you can place all the things over there and communicate or share the links with the students. And third and the fourth thing, I used to put all these things on my website as well. And of course, the WhatsApp groups are there, but please use the WhatsApp group only for the notices, not for communication and answering the detailed things out there. So putting all these things in different platforms increase the accessibility of the students, and you can avoid all the excuses as well from them. That I will not be able to get the things from there, and I will not be able to get the things from there. And also when you play the things on the Moodle, when students download those videos from the Moodle, it consumes hell of the money out of their cell phones. When you place that video on the YouTube, they have a lot of packages. The cellular companies gave a lot of packages to the users, especially for using WhatsApp, for using YouTube. So it will be much cheaper for them to see the videos on the YouTube as well. The next thing is the difficult and the most tricky stuff is that how we can assess our students, what are the possible assessment methods. So I'm also learning that phase as well, but whatever I have done, I'm sharing those assessment methods with you. Instead of giving them longer assignments, I give them concise questions to write write their responses in one-page assignment. So I give them precise questions so that they should be able to answer those precise questions in one-page assignment. It will be much easier for me to analyze. It will be much easier for me to check those assignments as well. But this is the least used stuff I was using in my online class. The next thing which I am using a lot is I ask my students to create 5-minute videos like me. So they have to create like their own PowerPoint slides with whatever the resources they can get from whatever the means they can generate. They need to create like a 3 to 4 slides and a 5-minute video for me, and I will be able to judge and assess their performance after that using and watching those videos of my students about a particular concept or the task. The third thing which I'm doing is that I'm not giving my students to answer the MCQs. I'm not creating MCQs for them. Actually, I'm asking them to create MCQs for me. So after teaching the things, I ask them to create 10 MCQs for that particular topic or for 20 MCQs for that particular topic. So using their MCQs, I able to assess the level and depth of concept they able to absorb out of my class. If they are very conceptual, they understand the things well, they will create the MCQs in a very wonderful way, and somehow we able to figure out whether my student is getting the things in a perfect way or not. The fourth thing which I'm using a lot, and that is working perfectly for me, is the group discussion option. The group discussion option is that I create 7 or 8 groups in my classroom. I have 36 class of 36 students. So 7 or 8 groups of my students, each group with 4 to 5 students. And for those students, I gave them individual topic. And all of my class, and including myself, we are the audience of that group discussion session. The group discussion session usually, it took like 30 minutes for me, the group in that group discussion session, and in which I act as a moderator, and all of my class act as an audience. So I ask my questions I put my questions in front of the panel of the students, and the students argue, counter argue, and share their thoughts on it. And at the end of the day, I able, based on their arguments, based on the facts they are using, based on the references they are giving in their group discussion, I able to give them some grades at the end of the group discussion session. And then finally the one-to-one interview, that might be the ultimate option. I still need to use that thing, and that might be the final way we should assess our students at the end of the day, that how you can talk to student one-on-one and guess and ask questions to figure it out his or her performance as well. And last but not the least, the class gestures matters a lot in order to have your students out there in front of you, in order to help them that they should stay engaged. The first thing I believe is that these are all things which I'm trying to do. I used to tell them that I am recording that session from here on. So that means the formal classroom will start after that. And then I give my students a freedom that because since a recorded lecture, so if they want to turn off their camera, they can turn off their camera, because the video will go on to the YouTube after that. The third is that I usually speak my students with their name. I usually pick 4 or 5 students during the lecture, and I ask and I speak their names along with the certain sentences, just to give them an impression that I am talking to him or I am talking to her. And that is the way that they usually stay on their toes, that sooner or later the teacher will going to speak their name as well. And the very important thing is that I allow my students to ask questions in private. In the Zoom, we can ask questions privately and in a whole group as well. So sometimes when in the recorded sections, usually students do not like to show up because they're afraid of making a stupid question. Because it is recorded, it will go out to the YouTube, so they do not want to, have that impression. So they do not ask any question. So if you ask them to make their questions in a private chat group, you will be bombarded with questions. I usually answer like 18 to 19 questions at the end of the session, because they are not afraid that I will not going to speak their name as well. So all you need to give them a freedom that they can ask your question. In that case, they will wait for the question answer session to communicate with you, and you can answer them as well. And at the end of the day, of course, I usually call their names like in a regular classroom, like in attendance, to let them know that I'm here, I'm teacher, I'm calling your name, and you are just marking your attendance to me as well. And at the same time, there are other software as well, but I do not suggest that at this time. We are middle of a semester, so switching between the software is not a very good choice at this time. But if the thing prolong as it seems, I'm afraid, then we might need to explore all of these options as well. This article includes the comparison between all these softwares, and I can tell you the difference between these software is just the amount of time they are giving to you, the amount of free time they are giving to you, or it depends on the number of participants they are allowing you. So the Zoom is doing almost everything, whatever the other things are doing. So if you are like a pro of Skype, if you are pro of Zoom, just please stick with that thing. And with this, I am concluding my session. I am sorry if I'm taking a little bit more time, and I'm ready to share with the questions and with the answers. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mustafa. I think your last slide was very important, and the one about student interpersonal contact that you did with students, because at this time they need to be made easy, feel easy about there are some great tips over there for giving personal attention. Thank you, Mustafa. I see that there were a few questions. There are now 74 of you. And I would suggest that there have been a couple of questions that have come up. One has come up again, is how do you grade? I think Nisar Ahmed and Aisha Peek has asked about how do you grade the MCQs that are created by students. And I think that's a very good point. If you could hurriedly walk us through that, then we'll open the floor to other people to ask questions.
So I have no means. I mean, there is no standard, there is no method available out there. It is something we need to evolve. All these are some of the options that how we can grade our students while sitting in the comforts of our homes. So we don't have any material out there. So all we need to get as many sense as we can out of them. This is one of the many options out there. When a student create MCQs based on learning reasons, like an year or the name of the scientist or something जिसको हम रट्टा बोलते हैं, you can figure it out. उसने effort नहीं किया है question को create करने के लिए. If a student is trying to create a question out of concept, like he's trying to make statement, he's trying to create a problem, so somebody should think and answer. I think this is like an A type of stuff. Another one we can give like a C. Nowadays we can only give C, so that is a C for me.
I think you figured it out. I think over to the rest of you. Higher order thinking skills. What level of thinking skill the question is about. Yes, please, to the rest of you. The rest of you may please unmute, and if you put your hand up, because I cannot see you all on the screen, please speak out one by one. I'm sorry, the screen does not show all of you, so I can't see who has got his hand up. G.
Ma'am, I can, if the question, there are a lot of questions in the text session from the chat. So if you, I can read from there as well if you allow me.
There are not.
That's the one way.
There is the question that I have asked is that came twice, and there's not many questions. It's just basically it was this question that came twice. How to take a class of 1 hour was Sabah Khalil to everybody. So I think 1 hour class. Do you have a response, or somebody else from the audience can respond? The participants. Anybody else? Well, how do you take a 1 hour class? Anybody has thought what to do? Gee, Aisha Teek has an answer. Please, Aisha.
I normally, basically, it ends between around 40 minutes. So I actually schedule 2 classes simultaneously. So one ends and I shift on to the other. So this is how my students know. So this is what I do.
Okay. I do not know what the question was about. If she says that I get disconnected after 40 minutes. Of course, the Zoom free session is for 40 minutes. So, Sabah, you will get disconnected. For that, there's a $15 worth of monthly subscription that you can take out on Zoom.
It's not for
Jay, I think Zoom is, as you said, it is between 30 and 40 minutes, you see. But if you pay them, I mean, it is only about $15 per month, which is not very, very much, you see. So if you can pay, or if FC College can, as an institution can pay for them as HEC has done for teams, So I think it will be helpful. But even otherwise, you see, we individually can also pay $15. That's not much. It's about 2,500 or something. But the other, I would also like to share. You see, all our lectures are for more than an hour. You see, therefore it is important, that we have that much time on Zoom. The other thing which, Mustafa had shown you very innovative to have a Android cell phone and use it as a camera for writing. But if you have a laptop on which you can write on the screen, you see, that is most easiest and the best. And that's the way I use the whole PowerPoint screen as my blackboard or a whiteboard, you see, and you can write on it, and it is immediately transmitted to your students, you see, and that's fairly, I mean, it's fascinating actually, at least I am enjoying it, because you can take the whole call also, and the students are so alert, you see, that if somebody is absent, they send me on my WhatsApp, sir, I was busy somewhere, so I will be regular, etc., So that indicates their seriousness in attending the lectures, you see. And I, for one, have been giving them assignments every 2 weeks, you see, and do the reading on their assignment and send them the grades, you see, so that they are aware that they are being graded and, all that. Anyway, I'm sure all of you have got much better and experiences, you see.
Just to say that we are finishing the 330 marks. Kausar, great points. Thank you so much. And I'm delighted that you and Rehan and a few others have taken to technology like fish to water. And so it's great. Just to say that those of you that want to leave, there are 72 of you right now. We are happy to go on. We can go on to another because we have the FC account that is unlimited. So we won't close off at 40 minutes. So we can keep on talking, but I do see some comments, rightfully so. Sylvia has pointed out, Sylvia Machado, that the big blue button in Moodle actually gives you an option which is alternative to Zoom and gives you unlimited time. But since it has come now into the process, it's a bit difficult. People have not picked it up, but do try that. And then there's a question from you, Mustafa, Shazia Ilyas. What about those students who do not have internet access? Any answer from the floor?
I think for that, Cheryl is working on it, and she's sending material to the people who don't have the internet access. And in the current circumstances, this is the best thing we can do.
May I also suggest that for online modes, you will see that usually they do not necessarily recommend a full 40-minute session or longer sessions. For online mode, the lesson plan grid is planned out in such a manner that you can break it up. It doesn't have to happen all at the same time. It can mean that one 40-minute talk will extend to perhaps a day, where you give them small bits of activities. For example, you like a flipped classroom, you have sent them your PowerPoint or your video, they watch it, they come to the class and you give them a quiz for like 10 minutes, which is again timed. Then again, they go back and there is some more activity. You leave them with a group discussion. You leave it on the virtual wall. And on the virtual wall or WhatsApp group, I have noticed, I've heard from faculty that they use a closed WhatsApp group from smaller groups and guide their discussions, or a Facebook account or something. That is how the groups sort of breakout groups, or you can use them on Moodle. And then towards the end, you can use another 10-15 minutes for closure. That can again be timed for 2-3 hours of gap. And in the evening, you make them come back with another take on what they have learned, how were the learning objectives for the lessons achieved. So I've noticed that for students who do not have a good internet connection or a continued internet connection, breaking up your lesson into smaller units, which are bite-sized and can be sent by email, and they work through that, or through their mobile phones, it works out fine. But I am open to other ideas. And believe me, these are ideas that a lot of our faculty are using on campus. I've been talking to some. Like they said, that they can do it through their people who do not have internet access. Students can, there's Nazish Roy who's saying they use their phone or landline, and Zoom has that option as well. It's really informative. Slides, yes, we will give you slides. Any other questions? Any other questions from the floor, or any other best practices? Shinho, would you like to add something?
Can I speak? Can I share my own experience?
Rabia, is that Rabia?
Yes, Rabia Wasif.
Please, Rabia.
Actually,
please go ahead.
I also noticed that since the free sessions of Zoom are only limited to 40 minutes and students usually need a longer time than that in order to understand an entire lecture. So the method or technique that I have been using with my students is I send them PowerPoint slides along with the audio recording of my lecture. Because within the PowerPoint slides, you have the option of inserting audio lectures, right? And per slide, you can actually insert 20 minutes audio lecture. So what I do, I record my lectures, I insert those lectures into the PowerPoint slides. Altogether, one lecture in total goes up to like 1 hour, 1 hour, 10 minutes. The advantage of those slides for me actually turned out to be that not all students have internet access 24/7. So it usually turned out in the beginning that students could not attend my Zoom session because they were having difficulty at that particular point. So I started sending them PowerPoint slides along with the lecture. And then twice a week, I take their Zoom session only for activity and discussion. And that discussion is actually written down at the very last slide, that, okay, when we will be having the Zoom session, we will have a discussion on this particular topic or on this particular issue within the topic. So then they actually come up prepared, and then 40 minutes are more than enough for discussion and activities only. But they have that lecture recorded with them, saved with them, that they can go back and again forth, again and again to the lecture and listen to it whenever they feel that they have lost a point or they have forgotten a point. So, Zoom sessions actually, I felt that Zoom sessions are more like, if they miss something, they just miss it totally. With the recorded slides in PowerPoint, they can actually go back to the slides and listen to them 10, 20, as many times as they want. So it's like something they've saved it.
I think that's a great point. Ji, Aisha, you wanted to say something?
I would like to add here, what normally I do is, when I'm giving a lecture on a Zoom, I record it as well. And then I send it to the students, just in case if somebody hasn't shown up or were disconnected in between, or they were just lost, whatever. So it's there then. So, but like Muhammad Sab talked about that, he basically edits it. I'm not very good at that, so I don't do that. I just let it go.
Just to make a point, what about Rabia Wasif said about voiceover on PowerPoint slides, that makes it very heavy. And Sylvia Machajo has pointed it out rightfully so. It is recommended that for PowerPoints, if you do notes on the side, that would be better than doing voiceover, because that takes a lot of bandwidth. There is another comment which is saying, I think there was something about, another question. Yes, an open book quiz. Dr. Nisar Ahmed has asked, how do you do an open book quiz through Zoom? Anybody else to answer apart from Mustafa? Anybody would like to take that on? Open book through Zoom?
Yeah.
Yes, Mustafa, over to you. Yeah, Kausar is there. Yes, Kausar.
See, I mean, most important thing is that how you coin your question, you see, you know, I mean, if the question is such that it is not straightforward, you know, I mean, if there is some creative thinking expected at question, then they will have to search for different books and literature and all that. And my experience, to be honest, I mean, with all this online thing, I mean, I only teach 400 level courses, and I think they are relatively senior students, you see, and they have been working quite hard, you see, as compared to the normal circumstances, you see, when they've got enough activity roaming around and all that, you see, you know. But now I have been giving them real time uh, uh, creative exercises, you see, and they have been able to do that extremely well. Not all of them, but many of them have been able to do that, you see. So I think this is very important that we have a mechanism of their assessment. And open book exam is nothing new, you see. It happens everywhere, you see. So it all depends that what kind of questions you are going to ask, you see, you know. And then secondly, you see that you know, Rabia was, I think, talking about sending them over. I mean, I totally agree with you, Tafsana, that, you know, instead of having a voiceover, we should have the notes along with that. But even then, if you could extend the time of Zoom, that is much easier, you see, you know. You have an ability to talk, ask them questions, and, you know, engage them in some discussion also, and irrespective of any time limit or anything, you see, that will be much easier. But in any case, as a routine, we send all the PowerPoints to them beforehand, you see, and any book chapters or all that. I never used to give them any book chapters or anything, you see, in the normal days, you see, you know. But now, since, you know, they can't go to the library, they can't go anywhere, so I send them some of the material as well, you see, you know. So everybody, I'm sure everybody is doing the same things.
Yeah, I noticed that Herbert made a comment on saying that students make an excuse of saying that they couldn't connect. So I guess whatever the option, I think we will have to take that at face value and give them options which are not online and face to face. And I think that goes without saying. There are lots of options that don't have to be face to face in that way, like Aisha also said. Hafsa has said about how she has found that uploading videos on Moodle has been, and even PowerPoint has been a problem, and she is now uploading it on YouTube. Faculty of Economics and Shuja Bakar is saying is following the same strategy as explained by Rabia. I think Rabia did a great point of how she divides her 40 minutes lesson into smaller bits of activity, and I think that's a great way to go. And perfect. Is there any more sharing? There is Shinoch saying that,
Yep.
yes, sorry.
Can I go quickly? Just
Yeah, please.
Just for 10 to 20 seconds. Ma'am, I just want to add one more way how to share the things with the students who have lesser internet connection. Let me tell you, every student is able to get to the internet. I mean, in Pakistan, I don't believe on the students who are saying they don't have an internet. That is correct that their internet connection might be lesser. So in that case, I think the most easiest way is to use the WhatsApp, sending them the slides as picture along with a voice note. Your voice note of 2 minutes of one slide is good enough to give the concept of that slide to the students. So if there are like 10 slides for a lecture, you just need to send 10 pictures of your slides along with the 10 different voice notes to the WhatsApp. It will be much easier, and student cannot complain that they are not able to get the things out of the slides after that. And if they have questions, they can send the voice note back.
Perfect. I think that's a good answer. And Rihanna John has raised a hand on her slide. Yes, Rihanna? 2 participants. I can only see Rihanna John, and who else? Yes, Rihanna?
You know what, I wanted to give a small little suggestion, like what I'm doing with my students is, because at time I cannot get connected with them. So what I do is that, like Dr. Koster talked about it, that he sends the material. So I send the material and then I have to analyze them as to what have they done. And how would I get to know as to what progress they are making in their work? So what I do is that, you know, I just ask them whatever stuff I've given them, that they just write an analysis of that. And though it is a very hectic job going through the stuff, reading it, and then getting to know that as to what they have done, but I still feel comfortable. And then, you know, another source, because everyone, if at all you send them an email and you send them the stuff, though they, but I would just ensure that they, through WhatsApp, acknowledge it that yes, they have done some work, or they have at least received my mail. And then I, you know, get onto their nerves by asking them that, okay, I would want the analysis of whatever, and please, if you could check on your email and if you could reply to that, so that, you know, whatever stuff we are covering and we are doing, they definitely, you know, send me through assignments and through what you call it, whatever they are studying, whatever they are reading. So analyzing the stuff, so that makes the things very easier for me, and I'm able to, you know, get into this, that well, they are studying and we are just, you know, through with each other through telephonic calls at times, and at times they would act, if they have not done their work, they would say that, well, we can't catch you, we can't hear you, we have internet problem, we have WhatsApp issues. So we are, I would say that I don't know about others, but so far as I'm concerned, I am definitely finding it a bit difficult, and you know, it's really technical to teach online.
Thank you so much. We are 45 minutes into the meeting, and I see you are now 64. 10 of the participants have left. Thank you so much, but I'm happy to continue if you want to continue, or if there are some more comments to come. Truly delighted. I hope all the questions have been answered that I could see in the chat. Is there anything else that we could talk about, or you just want to say hello to each other? It's a great opportunity to connect socially. Okay, Kauser, you want to say something? No, yes, Kauser, your mic. Kauser, we can't hear you. Hello, Kauser?
Yes, now I've unmuted myself.
Yeah.
See, I was only saying that, you know, good to see all of you here, and hope to see you in person soon. And take care and stay safe. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much. Thank you. We are very
Dr.
happy,
Rukhsana,
Shinho, you are here from South Korea. Sorry, Ji?
Dr. Rukhsana, it was really lovely for arranging all this. And thank you so much.
Thank you, Rehanna.
Thank you.
Anything else? Has somebody any questions? We are happy if you want. We are down to 52 participants, and I think should we call it quits now? Abdullah, there were some comments. Abdullah made some comment. Abdullah, will you please make the comment? Your comment has disappeared in lots of other comments coming through. Abdullah? He wants to extend Zoom lectures time, but that, like Kauser said, comes with a $15 fee, unless FC wants to put it up. Right? Gee, thanks. I think most are saying thanks. Mustafa, people are really, delighted with your talk. You have done a great job. We'll be sharing your slides with everybody. And I think Zoom should have been done much earlier than this. My apologies for thinking of it so late, but I have been missing in action for a month. And I apologize for being late on getting in,
All the best.
to things. But we'll be doing
Thank you
some
very much,
more
ma'am.
sessions.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you,
All
Mustafa.
the best. All the best. Take care.
Thank you, Kausar, Herbert. Lovely to see you.
Thank-
Lovely to see all of you. Faiza
Okay.
Jamil, Sylvia, Laila Zafar, Tanveer, Saklan, Shahid Ashraf,
See you tomorrow.
Bilal Ashraf, Sabah Khalil, Ibtisam. There's so many of you. I wish I could see you all face to face. Rumal is there. Khatija Burhan is there. So there's a lot of us. So I can't go through 71 names. So we'll be keeping a record of your attendance. We'll share that with you. And of course, you'll get 1 hour of CLT, continuing professional development, because it takes, time setting it up, learning technology. So it will be implied in your professional development that you have come so far on your own, and so on. There is a comment by Herbert: let the students have the last 5 minutes without the professor online, and they can talk a bit. It is helpful for the class. That's a great point, Herbert, to make them feel connected to each other. I think that's a great point. So thank you so much. And we'll look forward to seeing you tomorrow at another seminar, which is about some more Moodle instructional tips. Please do join us if you have time. We look forward to seeing you. Shinho, do join tomorrow for the Moodle thing. I look forward to you adding to the talk, because you have done a great job and you have really helped us refine Moodle. Aruj, lovely to see you. I see Fariha, Sumaira, Mubashir. Oh,
Ma'am,
Ji,
can I ask a question, please, if that's fine?
Ji.
Ma'am, with regards to setting up a YouTube channel, what would be the legalities involved? I mean, as an employee of institution, is it
Yeah.
fine? Because we do know these forums, they get monetized. So whether we will be using our own name or will it be the institution's name? And what will be the legalities?
Aruj,
Thank
you have put up such a good point. We have moved very quickly into this mode without thinking through the whole contextual reality of the situation. But we have a learning group that's working on this. And one of the issues that they have raised is the privacy issues and the data protection issues. And the YouTube falls directly under. We're having the same problem. Lots of us are putting up a material out there, and some things might be FC specific and could create problems. I think the institution has to keep on top of that, but we need to flag that. And we'll be flagging that to the rector, because rector had asked for the comments of you all as they come up, and that's a very important institutional point for institutional consideration. Absolutely, dot on. Gee, Mustafa, you wanted to say something.
I just want to just add my comment on that thing. I right now, because since we are not mature for that thing, so it's better to use a personal email address to avoid any complication and try to edit things. It's our responsibility, a teacher's responsibility, that whatever is going out for the rest of the world should be like appropriate and should cover everything, the norms and traditions of normal teaching. So something like we are talking in an informal way. That is why I use the term processing of video is very important. It's like your prestige, your name with that video for the rest of your world. Our kids, their kids can see those things. So the professors of F3 University everybody will think like that. This is a professor from F3 University. This is the professor from F3 University. So we need to be very, very careful for editing purpose. That's why like start video recording and then the end video, there should nothing else between these two things. I used to talk informally before that. I used to talk informally after that, like in whatever the way I want. But before that time, it should be professional, highly professional. It's our job.
I'm not sure, Mustafa, about professional, but I would say yes, the professional part in terms of the information that you're giving out. So a professional way of conduct might be another story. Of course, you want to make sure that your dress and your gestures and your language is all in order, that cannot be questioned. But I totally agree, yes, these are issues that have yet to be resolved and we have a long way to go. There are still 31 of us. You don't want to go, it seems. We are happy to be here till as long as you are. So anything else that you would like us to talk about? There's now Shahid Ashraf, Khatija, Rana Salman, Nisar Ahmed, Laiba Arshad, Bushra. There's some more, Talha Numan, Sarah John. Who else have I missed out? Abdul Halim is there since the very beginning. Shabnam Malik is there. Salah Iqbal is there. Muhammad Zubair is there. Have I missed out some names? It's lovely to connect. Shahid Ashraf, Bilal Ahmed, Farheen Ibrahim, Dr. Nausheen, Muhammad Zubair, and there are some more, oh my. So I think there's a lot of us out there. Any questions? Halim Saab? Abdul Halim, would you like to ask something? Saklan, I think, is still there. Ji Halim. Is there something you'd like to ask, Halim? I think he has nothing to say. So we'll bid you all goodbye. Thank you so much for being with us. There's still 20 of you with us. But and immense thanks, Mustafa, you are a hit. You are a star now. Dr. Nausheen is there, but I think nobody is there to ask questions. So we can leave the meeting, Sulman, right? Thank you, Mustafa. Thank you once again. Okay, bye-bye.
Aapka shukriya. Thank you very much.
Nahin, thank you so much. Great talk.